roll flip for you.
You could. Dun, dun,
Right over the top and boom.
dun, dun, dun.
Okay. So, today we pulled into Le Havre and took an excursion to...
And what country are we in?
Oh, we are in Francois.
We are in France.
We are in France. And we pulled into Le Havre, and we decided to take an excursion to...
Mont Saint-Michel.
Mont Saint-Michel. Yes, we did. So it was a... Go ahead.
Which is located in Normandy.
Which is located in Normandy. That's correct.
Yes. Very important.
So we took a 3-hour bus ride to get there from Le Havre, and
Totally worth it.
totally worth it. So the bus dropped us off in the parking lot, and then we got off the bus and walked over to a shuttle, which was maybe 10-minute ride.
It was a 3-kilometer
I think it took about 10
journey.
minutes
Yeah.
to go, because there is, between the land and Saint-Michel, there's a bridge that goes there because Saint-Michel's out in the water, although today the tide was out.
It was super low tide, yeah.
Very low tide, so you actually could walk all the way to it, which afterwards we walked out to take pictures out at the ocean bed, which didn't have any water at it at the moment. So anyway, this you go over this fairly long bridge, but they drop you off before that bridge, and then you got to walk it, which isn't that far, maybe 5 minutes, or I suppose. But it's beautiful because Saint Michel is right there the whole time you're looking at it as you're walking.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very nice. It was challenging to get pictures because there were so many people going.
So let's describe
But,
what it is. So
but-
it is a village and an abbey built on a tiny little island.
Yeah, on like a rock
built
island.
up.
Up.
Built up.
Yeah.
And the first abbey was built, or the first chapel was built in 1030 AD.
It's pretty old. And
Pretty
I
old.
believe he said it took 500 years to complete
build.
the whole project.
Yeah.
And the English attacked it twice, trying to take it over, but they failed twice because the tide would come in on them and they would have to retreat. And so the tide was very effective because the tide goes actually quite a ways out. There's another island just off to the side of it, and the tide goes past that. And you can actually walk from the far mainland to that island to
If you
Saint
time
Michael.
it, if you time it right.
Saint Michel. Yeah, it's Saint Michel, but translated that's Saint Michael
Right.
in English.
Right, for Michelangelo. No,
For
Michael.
the Archangel.
Archangel. I just noticed we have got a monkey up. Sorry, distracted.
Wow,
We-
that was a big squirrel.
We've got
Okay, yeah, a hanging monkey.
a hanging monkey.
We
Sorry,
do.
just noticed.
So I believe the story goes that the bishop at the time supposedly was visited by the Archangel Michael, who told him to build it there and build it high. And so that's why it was built there.
So the story goes.
So the story goes.
Yeah.
And then on the top of the high steeple on the church, on the top of that is a gold statue of the Archangel Michael with his foot on
The dragon.
which is Satan,
Yeah.
with the sword over him.
Yeah.
And so obviously
That was added.
it was added later.
Several
Yeah.
centuries later.
Several centuries later it was added, but that obviously depicts, I believe, Satan being thrown out of heaven by the Archangel Michael, which did happen. So anyway, we're walking up, and you enter through a gate, and then you hang a right, and then you go through another gate,
And these are like the old
the archway gates.
granite block.
Yeah, solid.
Yes.
And the third gate that you go through is actually a drawbridge.
That was fascinating. With the that people squisher, the big block
that would drop on people.
that would come down.
When you go through the first, between the two arches in
Yeah.
kind of like the breezeway there,
Yeah.
there was a big metal thing that
People
or
squisher.
wood. Maybe it was wood.
It was wood.
It was wood, and it would drop down and smash people.
Yeah.
If they went through there, but if they got past the drawbridge, past the gate, into that breezeway, then they would get smushed, and then they had to get through another gate to actually get into the
Yeah,
into
it
the
was
area,
quite fortified.
of which nobody obviously did throughout its history. It was attacked twice, but never breached. And so anyway, so you go in there, and I was surprised.
And it was Benedictine monks. Benedictine, yeah.
I was surprised at how many restaurants and shops and stuff
Oh, and
are
the little
in there.
village
Yeah,
inside
it's
the
like
walls.
it's got its own village inside the walls. And this place really isn't that big. I mean, it's not that big for a little town, but man, there's nooks and crannies everywhere, and little
And
hallways,
tiny little
passageways,
yeah,
and
tiny little. We thought the passageway in Lisbon was small. This one was like you could barely get your shoulders
you almost
through.
had to turn to walk through it.
That was really something.
Yeah, and so then basically you keep going upstairs. Well, between buildings, and then upstairs, and you kind of curve around till
Wind
you
your
get
way
up
around. Yeah,
to the cathedral
yeah.
at the top, and the cathedral's at the very top. And we bought tickets to go into the cathedral, and it was
Magnificent.
yeah, it did not disappoint for sure. And it is amazing how much space is in that cathedral. Not just the main cathedral, but all of the rooms all around it.
Yeah, the
And
ceilings
there's
were
halls
so high,
and-
and passageways, and
Oh, it's beautiful in there.
Yeah.
And very impressive. Very impressive. And then what I thought was really neat too was on the backside, when you came out the backside door of the cathedral, you come out to a yard that's built up top up there. There's a yard.
How did they do that?
Yeah, with hedge, a nice hedge around it, and
Yeah.
and kind of a little peaceful
Like
area there.
Like a typical French garden, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
It
beautiful.
was
The
nice.
stonework was really precise and detailed, and the granite blocks came from
Like 30
35
kilometers away.
Kilometers away, yeah.
A place, an island, like 30 kilometers away, they carted all of that stone in for this whole thing. And that's a lot of stone.
The other thing that it was so amazing is they built the cathedral. There were places where it was the rock,
Yeah.
where they were actually built, and so you could see pieces of the natural rock from where locally, and then they added the stone to it.
And they
So
didn't just build on it, they built into it too, into the actual island. And so it's all integrated.
rock, yeah.
And it is fantastic. It just rises, when you're outside, it just rises way up there. And it's like this big cylinder that goes up.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, very impressive. So we got done with the cathedral, and then we came down and we found a creperie to eat at. And it was kind of neat because it was like built into the stone of the place.
Yeah, like we went into the cave.
Yeah, it's like we went into a cave into this restaurant. And
It's built into the rock.
yeah,
It's
and
very cool.
and it was French food, so it was really good. That's pretty much the standard, right? So we had crepes, sausage with crepe wrapped around it, and then crepes with caramel on it. Oh, so good.
What a treat.
And then after that, we accidentally ran into an ice cream place too, and had ice cream.
It was wonderful.
So we got done with that, and then we came out. But on our way out, there was this restaurant that actually had Michelin stars, and it
for
showed
the
the gal
French
from
omelets.
1888, I believe is what the date was on that.
Yeah.
And they cooked omelets and stuff on a wood fire grill, and that would have been interesting to try. But anyway, so we came out and we decided to go in front of the castle, out not on the main roadway, but off
Out
to
on
the
the
side,
beach.
basically where the water comes in, where the tide, where the ocean water normally would be,
On the
but the
sand.
tide was out.
Yeah.
So we kind of walked out there a ways and we're taking some pictures of this amazing structure, and then we decided instead of taking the shuttle back, we would walk back to meet our bus, and that was nice as well, because when we walked back, we kind of got to a little bit the hotel area. There was a bridge that went across the river to the side, and if you went out on that bridge, it was a perfect shot of Saint-Michel, and so we took some pictures there. And on the way out, we saw horse and buggy, right? So you saw your horses. And so we had a moment there.
Get my horsey fix.
Yeah, we had to have a moment there.
Yes.
That was inspirational. That was good. We had a moment, a horsey moment. And
It was a really nice walk.
Yeah.
It was so nice seeing the marsh and the sheep that were grazing in the marsh grass. Yeah, that was just, it was beautiful. All the birds and yeah.
And there are several hotels outside, but there's also hotels inside
Yeah.
Saint-Michel as well.
In the gates, or
Yeah.
what are they called? The walls, the
The
city
walls,
walls.
in the walls.
Truly in the city walls.
Yeah. So you can stay inside Saint-Michel or just outside
I guess you wouldn't call it a city, it'd be a village, right? Yeah. Be
on a hill.
village.
A village on a hill. Yeah, something like that. And
Yeah, it was
then we jumped on the bus and came back to the ship. Was there anything I missed? Or we missed?
No,
That's of
just
vital importance.
the rolling hills of Normandy were green and beautiful, and so many farms. And we learned about the Normandy cows with sunglasses on. So that's how you spot a Normandy cow. Do they have those brown patches over their eyes?
Right?
Yeah.
And then we also learned that if the cows are laying down, it's going to rain.
Which was not true.
Which was not true. Well, it was very dark and rainy on the way, and then when we got there, the skies just opened up.
But we did learn about the Normandy cheeses, and Cambrai is all those soft cheeses are so good.
And the other thing we learned was some history about World War II in the area, in that George Patton and I think it was the Third Army, I might be wrong on the Third Army, I think it was the Third Army, liberated that area. And we actually saw a little monument thing there.
And then we saw
George Patton.
several American flags.
Lots of
Yeah.
American flags there.
Yeah.
And so they seemed very appreciative of all the soldiers that lost life. And when we were driving in the bus, our guide had mentioned that 36,000 troops lost their lives liberating that area.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
so
so,
it's-
the people were so grateful.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how the countryside is put together, and he explained why.
Oh, the hedgerows.
So there's fields and there's hedgerows around all the fields, and that's to break the wind. And so the German soldiers would put their snipers and stuff in those hedgerows, or machine guns in those hedgerows. So when the Allied troops were coming, they would ambush them.
Yeah.
And so a lot of soldiers lost their lives. Allied soldiers lost their lives. I'm sure German soldiers too. But
Yeah. We did see that bridge, the one bridge that
oh,
did
that's
not
right. He
get...
talked about that. There was that stone bridge, and it was the only bridge that was not destroyed. And it was the bridge that Patton crossed. The army crossed on that one bridge.
Yeah. In all of Normandy.
In all of Normandy.
Yeah. Amazing.
That was neat to see
Amazing.
as well. I didn't get a
Yeah.
picture of it, but it was neat to see.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It was a wonderful day.
very nice day.